Yo, what's thought to flinch?
We're seeing reports of B-2 bombers that vanished over the Pacific. This is today. I'm recording this live, June 21st. Six B-2 Spirit stealth bombers lifted off from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri. Their destination is the Western Pacific, likely Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. They weren't flying alone. 8 KC 135 and KC 46 refueling tankers launched in two waves to escort and refuel the bombers mid flight. It was a full scale strategic operation. This was confirmed to not be a drill by all the major outlets. But halfway over the Pacific, they turned off their flight trackers. Open source radar feeds went dark. Their transponders were switched off, cutting off civilian visibility. We can see a lot now that you couldn't see back in the day. So we see the risk pieces being moved, and it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a malfunction. This is operations security. When they go silent mid-mission, it signals a sensitive route, a live deployment, and a message: "Don't watch us. We got business to handle." Bombers continued radio silence, and it's unconfirmed right now where they are, but all signs point to moving towards being closer, at least, to the Middle East. In March 2025, we did the same thing, sent B-2s to Diego Garcia, where they later struck Houthi targets in Yemen. Their first ever use in that region. That is the Yemen 52-day war. It is a war. I think Laura Loomer or somebody was asking, is it a war? Just weird. It's not a war. What is it when you bomb people and kill people? I don't know. What do you want to call it? Whatever you want to call it, that's what it was. I guess you don't want to, because you know that war really should be approved through Congress. You don't want to use that word. There's that nomenclature again. It keeps popping up every live, every conversation. No, is it war? No, it's not war. Are they really a Christian? No, they're not. Are they a Christian? They say they're a Christian. Is it Israel? Because they called it Israel. Is it war? No, it's not war. We're looking at bombing their nuclear facilities or whatever it is, the strategic nuclear development facilities. Is that war? No, it's peace. It's not war. So in that operation in March of 2025, they went dark over the Indian Ocean. Satellite imagery later confirmed that the bombers' presence and the strikes were only acknowledged after the fact. And that Houthis thing that I'm seeing now, because I'm wondering, why did we spend, I forgot, I believe it was $2 billion. I have literally the math done on that from a search. I believe it was $2 billion in 52 days in Yemen, and accomplished literally nothing. And nobody, the mission wasn't going to accomplish anything. Nobody claimed that it was going to accomplish anything. I think it was a dry run, is what it looks like. Because we sent B-2s over there just like that, right? Yemen's right there. It was kind of like a dry run, is what I think. And also going back in 2017, two B-2s flew 10,000 miles round trip to bomb ISIS targets in Libya, requiring 15 tankers, 34 hours of flight, $8.8 million at the time in bomber cost alone. This June 2025 deployment follows the same pattern: stealth, somewhat surprise. We really don't get that much surprise in war, actually, nowadays. We do get a little bit still, but not as much. So we have 6 B-2s, 8 tankers right now in June. 6 B-2s, 8 tankers, Trans-Pacific flight path, Iran heating up. Happening on a Saturday. I don't know if anything's going to pop off this weekend, but if you're going to do it, it would be Friday or Saturday if you're going to do something. I looked up the price tag. It's about $120K per hour per bomber, about $20K per hour per tanker. So where they're going, it's about a $13 million one way for the fleet. Grabba Laba. You found me. Yes. It's kind of like Yay. if you bring up Kanye, even if you say Kanye, he gets offended. So when you bring up middle MAGA, I'm offended. Grab a lab. I'm just joking. Thank you for finding me. Yes, I used to be middle MAGA. I kind of like, even though it's not great branding or whatever. Get used to your kind of handle. How could I have? I don't even know how I could have kept the handle with my position on MAGA right now. So, um, yeah. So I am index red based off of just my kind of take on X Files to where I am now, basically. We'd have to notify Meritus if we launch from Diego Garcia. I'm not familiar with that, so I'll look that up. I'm not familiar with any of this stuff. I don't really, never really looked into war nearly this deep. So thank you. I'll look that up. The Diego Garcia, just to be clear, was the March one. So in March, because I looked this up and I said, okay, what does it mean that they're moving the B2s? I don't know. Do they do that all the time and nobody cares, or what? It seems like it is a pattern. When they move them, they're using them. They're expensive. In March, they moved them and used them, and they struck Houthi targets. So I don't know what was alerted or who at the time with the Houthi strike, but I can just ask real quick. Do we have to notify? So, and we'll see what it says there, but we are kind of seeing a pattern. Is really the heart of my point. I did not do a deep search on this, but the Chat GPT says you do not need to notify before using Diego Garcia for military options, including stealth bomber deployments. And the reason why I say it's not deep, because they mess up a lot when it's not deep. Deep research, deep, deep research has been damn near 100% accurate for me. I mean, that it's been that accurate. Maybe I've seen one that was off. It just reports what it sees, so, but it does it accurately. Uh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Is that Mauritius? I don't. It says no, you don't have to. Part of the Chagos archipelago in the Indian Ocean, claimed by Mauritius but controlled by the UK. U.S. operates Diego Garcia under a UK-U.S. bilateral agreement, leased in 1966. This is reported, extended through 2036. The U.S. does not recognize Mauritian authority over Diego Garcia, is allegedly the take. But yeah, so the bombers moving I think it is. I see enough here to say that this is news. I see enough here that it's going to cost a lot, where you can argue this is Trump peace through strength again. I think we're well beyond that. He posted all, he's perfectly happy with Israel unliving people in Gaza. That's not really peace through strength. So what are we doing? But there's a mission. There's some type of mission happening. I don't know what it is, but it's not acknowledged at this point. Civilians have a lot of it. Telegram's breaking a lot of it. Then some of it leaks to Twitter. Civilian analysts pieced it together using open source flight data. You can't hide it anymore. Somebody's going to do it. Pentagon has released no statement as of my research, which was, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. The message is loud and clear. The U.S. is ready for a global strike. It's repositioned. These are the most expensive secretive aircraft. They're moving them halfway across the world. So this is a pretty big deal. Trump doesn't want to lose any of these, doesn't want to really waste money with these. So it's something serious going on. And they vanished mid-flight. So you see how that happens. I don't think they're there for no reason. As we can see, I'm assuming there's no reports that tied this to Israel-Iran. But this is tied into Israel-Iran and anywhere. Guam is still 16, it's not 16, excuse me, 6,000, about 6,000 miles away from Tehran. Still far, but closer than Missouri, and it's within striking distance if you add another refueling. The B2s, from what I can see here, fly in the dark. They fly alone, which is interesting. I know that they're supposed to be they don't get caught in radar, is my understanding. But this is the first strike capability without now announcing war. It's the exact window Israel's been pushing. harder behind the scenes and openly for U.S. to get involved. Somebody did have a good post on X where they said Israel, in the short term, they're okay with this battle, while they still have Iron Dome missiles, which they are running out of, and it's not quick to replace. I mean, you just literally have to manufacture them. I think it's done in Raytheon in West Virginia or Virginia. They're probably working their ass off right now. Probably a good time to buy some Raytheon stock. I'm not a financial expert, but I think there's still some room for it to go up. Let's just say, but they're probably making them now. But how it's going to take? I mean, from what I've seen, it takes weeks to replenish them. So what the point of that is, right now Israel's somewhat okay, even though they are still getting hit. But when they run out, if they didn't have the Iron Dome, they don't have anything. They're done. So that's where the U.S. has to come in. That's why Trump did the 14 days to slow the spread. He didn't say that. He is the original 15-day to slow the spread. You do remember that, right, Mega? Trump is the origin of the 15-day to slow the spread joke. It's him. Operation Warp Speed spawned from that, of course. And he said, I'm going to give it 2 weeks. They're not good. I don't see how they could give it 2 weeks. They're going to try and do another. Well, we'll see what happens. But it basically is saying 14 days to slow the spread of war. So we shouldn't be surprised. Israel is the one that struck first, but they knew that the U.S. has to get involved. Or what happens if the U.S. didn't get involved? Then Israel would just get bombed. So that's not it. I don't even see that as an option. It would either be a deal or U.S. gets involved. Those are the only two that I can see on the risk board. Iran has ramped up its rhetoric. They publicly warned about regional retaliation on U.S. bases. I don't want to hear any more talk from them or Russia or anybody else. Do what you got to do. China, I kind of like China. They do a little bit of that talk, but usually when Xi Jinping or they have that annual kind of festival or presentation, almost like a State of the Union, they talk a little trash there. But like Taiwan is ours. We'll take it when we want, that kind of stuff. But throughout the year, they don't really have to poke their chest. They don't have to peacock themselves around. It's like we're a boss. You do what you do. So all this talk doesn't lead to anything. I don't want it to lead to anything, but it doesn't go. I don't want to hear any more about talk from Iran or Russia. So Israel's waiting for that, and the U.S. is in kind of position now to do it. B-2 is the only aircraft in the world that can carry they call it the bunker bomb, 30,000-pound anti-nuclear bunker bomb. It's the only aircraft in the world that can carry it. I was watching MSNBC, I think it was, or maybe Twitter, and it might have been Twitter. This guy said that it would take like 16 rounds of, I don't know if it's 16 of those or what, but he said it wouldn't take one fly through to even get it done. And what's the goal of the mission? The goal is, he said that, I don't even know who he was, but he was interesting to listen to actually on mainstream. I believe it was mainstream, but he said, it's going to take, I think he said 16 rounds to do it. And he said the goal would have to be to eliminate the nuclear program altogether, not even harm it. Well, he's like, what's the point of that? Whether they could bring it back at some other time, but they could bring it back at any time. But that's why they have to talk about regime change now to prep you for it. And they talked about believe it or not, the guy, I believe his grandkid married a Jewish woman, the guy who they're allegedly trying to regime change with. You see, you have to regime change because you could bomb them, and then the Russians could just come back in there and just start the program again. So if Israel strikes on the facilities, then they could come through from Guam and launch and hope, from their standpoint, hopefully finish the job. Netanyahu's coalition is crumbling, so he has to have war. Bill Clinton said it out loud. I've been saying that. The moment that any war stops with Israel, he's done. He's gone politically. some people don't realize he is a lot of the American Jews, a lot of the American Zionists don't like him anymore. A lot of the Zionists over there don't like him. The hardline Zionists don't like him. He can't survive, in my opinion, for what I've seen politically. But we're all, this is basically like saying there is no more negotiation. I think Iran is saying they're going to negotiate just to put pressure on Trump from the intervention side. So from that standpoint, I do agree with people who say Iran is trying to break apart MAGA. I mean, they're not breaking apart MAGA. It's like your significant other cheated and then someone else is talking about it. Yeah, I guess they're trying to break it up, but actually your cheating is what's really did it. But yeah, I think, yeah, that'd be smart. And that's what they're doing, is trying to say, oh, we're going to negotiate. We still want to negotiate. They're going to say that all the way until the bomb drops. So they can say, we tried to negotiate. Grabalaba says, I like that name. What's that? Is it Grabalaba? Is that for a reference? I don't know. Grabalaba says, I have a MAGA family member that's coping hard right now. He never places the blame on Trump. Always the rhino Republicans in Congress. I'll take a catastrophe for some of these people. It will take a catastrophe for some of these people to wake up. And I think a lot of these people are good people. Just, you take away, you've been a part of the movement potentially for quite some time, and you kind of put like whatever mental you apply to this to it. And it is a cognitive break, I think, to figure out that this is a trash movement and it's been a joke and a fraud the whole time. Like, I'll just take your family member and sit down and say, Trump's been a bitch the whole time. I'm sorry to break it to you. Let me just break it to you right away. So the Libertarian Party, New Hampshire, I believe it was, criticized Trump. Now, they didn't have enough evidence at the time, but I don't know if you remember that. That was like, I forgot when that was. It was 2020 or something like that. And well, it had to be after 2020. That's when I started the channel, but maybe 2022. And I said, don't call Trump a globalist. Here's what he said at it was a NATO summit or whatever where he was. And turns out they were right. They didn't have the evidence at the time, but they were right regardless. Yeah, see, Grabalava says he's a good guy. Yeah, it's not, even though I call you a maggot, I'm not talking about him, of course, Grabalava, but just generally speaking, so I guess it would include him, but I call you a maggot, but I call you that out of love. It's with love, maggot. Do you see Mahmoud Khalil got out, I believe? I haven't researched it, so I can't talk about it right now, but I did see that. I think he should sue the Trump administration. I'm going to take a hard turn here and talk about Ethan Klein. This is what I wanted to talk about earlier. Ethan Klein, the streamer, the guy who he's probably lost 100 pounds. Guy who has really changed over the years. Never been a fan of his, but he's really changed a lot. His best years were when he was with Piker, with whether you like the content or not. That was when he was the best. But he's just a streamer. He's like a normie type streamer. He's not a real get into the details. To be honest with you, Hassan Piker isn't either. You go to Revolutionary Blackout Network, Nico House, Fiorella Isabel. You go to them, Kim Iverson, Jimmy Dore, even for more detailed stuff. But Hassan Piker has the energy. He talks about the stuff high level. But Ethan Klein has this lawsuit out there. So the same guy, Ethan Klein, we'll get into a little bit this landmark. He had a landmark fair use case in 2017. But he is now the one suing smaller streamers for reacting to his content. Ethan Klein. And if you don't know who he is, it's not really relevant. We're going to be talking about fair use. Ethan Klein released famously a 60-minute takedown video, and it wasn't effective to take down for me, but that's the type of video it was. 60 minutes, and it was really well edited. It was really well done, even though I didn't agree with the content. He called it the content nuke, Hassan Piker. And it was basically a 60-minute Hassan Piker diss. Excellent video. It made probably his best work ever. I don't know who edited, but it was really, I watched it every second of it. It was, even though I didn't agree with it, just outstanding. And that's a lot what these videos come down to, is marketing, thumbnail, but to keep the retention, like Mr. Beast, it's all editing. Every second it's like the video is 60 minutes, but it's just a lot. It's like it's 60 minutes of 30-second TikToks in a way. So you just put all the TikToks together to get to 60 minutes, and it just keeps you going, scrolling, same type of thing, which is smart. Very high viewer retention probably with that video. And really the point of that video is to spread that video, is for the video to go viral. But here's what happened. People restreamed it, and Hassan Piker said it was a setup in part. He said that, I quote, "The trap was set and it worked better than I imagined." He was talking about using the 60-minute video as bait because he knew it was so good. It was edited so good that streamers like myself, I have another channel I haven't uploaded there in a while, After Show Carnage, where I do clips. I don't do 60-minute. Well, I might watch a video for 60 minutes, but I don't just clip and upload it. But it's typically with interruptions in it. But let's talk about that. The targets of this lawsuit is just again, Hassan was the target. Ethan Klein released the epic instant classic video content nuke. That's what it was called. He knew that people would stream and react to it. That's like literally the business of people eat off of that. He's the big dog, probably gets a lot of money. I don't know how much he makes. And then everybody eats the crumbs off of it. Then people eat the crumbs off the crumbs, and that's how it trickles down. So he targeted Frogan, Denims, and Casey Tron, all mid-tier Twitch streamers. They have decent followings, but nowhere near the reach of these monsters, like, not in a bad way, but these heavy hitters like XQC or Asmongold, both of which did reaction. Everyone did. Anyone who was worth anything did a reaction to the content nuke. I've talked about it back when it came out, but I didn't do a full reaction. So he accused Frogan, Denims, and Casey Tron of playing the video with minimal commentary. I will be perfectly clear. I have no interest in watching their commentary on it. I'm not going to watch their commentary on it. So my comments here are not going to be from that standpoint. I'm going to talk generally speaking. I'm just telling you what he said. If I didn't watch their video, I'm not going to talk about their video, because the way I see things is often different than others, especially someone like Ethan Klein. Here's the interesting part. He didn't sue XQC. He didn't sue Asmongold. Shout out to Asmongold. He actually used that Index Red clip a while back. That was pretty cool. Who did the same thing. They streamed his content nuke, and he did not sue them. And quote, he said that they weren't malicious, quote. Probably because they were too big. They're bigger than he is, and he probably couldn't outfight them in a legal battle. That's very important to this, because either you're truly concerned about the copyright or you're not. How could he win this? If you're suing everyone, then you can say it's about the copyright. I'll get to that in a second. But if you're only suing certain people, then it's not about the copyright. It's about something else, Ethan. And it is relevant what he is to this conversation. I will do reactions, and my overall take is that I'm more very liberal on reusing content as far as legality. As far as what I like to do, I don't like to just repost somebody's 60-minute stuff. So let's get into a little bit more. Ethan said they siphoned viewers away from him by rebroadcasting it on Twitch. Denim's peaked at about 46,000 live viewers, way above normal. Each lawsuit demands $150,000 in damages paid to Ethan Klein or his company. I'm not sure there, plus legal fees. He had the video copyright registered ahead of time to maximize the payout. So I fully believe this was planned, especially the type of the type of person he is. Do I have that drop still?
Finish him.
To have the privilege to stand with the Jew is a tremendous honor.
Yeah, so the person that Ethan Klein is matters to this.
To have the privilege to stand with the Jew
Why do I laugh every time?
is a tremendous honor.
I don't know, something's wrong with me, man. There's no reason to be laughing at that clip. I've played it a million times. I'm gonna play it again. I'm not gonna laugh this time.
To have the privilege to stand with the Jew is a tremendous honor.
Trying not to laugh made it worse. Klein claims that Casey Tron was drunk during her stream. What the hell does that have to do with anything? And barely added anything. So if she would have added something, it would have been fine. Frogan allegedly just sat and watched. I didn't see it again. Denim, this is alleged from Ethan Klein. Denim's had bad blood with Klein already. There's beef back and forth. Denim's threatened to sue him and all kinds of stuff. They all started GoFundMe pages. None of them have come close to raising what they need to survive trial. Frogan deleted her entire Twitch archive to dodge more DMCA strikes. Klein claims that this is all about principle. He says, quote, he wants to end, quote, lazy reaction content. Excellent. I see. But the real principle seems to be don't make Ethan look bad or he'll try to bankrupt you. That seems like, to me, that seems like the true principle, like what he truly wants to do. And this is a interesting thing because it adds to the concern about fair use. Some of the backstory, Ethan Klein, he kind of blew up on this fair use landmark case from 2017. It was Hossein Zeta versus Klein. Another YouTuber, obviously I don't know who, I can't pronounce their name, but another YouTuber sued Ethan and his wife, I believe his wife, for using clips of his video in a reaction. So this is 2017, someone had sued Ethan. The court ruled in Klein's favor. They said the video was quintessential criticism and comment, textbook fair use. So back then, Ethan was a poster child for fair use. Now he's suing people because they're smaller content, or literally, I don't know why, but it looks like that. But they are smaller content creators for doing the exact same thing he got famous for defending successfully. It's just pure irony with no shame. It was a major case. It was everything at the time. It really kind of blew everything up, where that's how you got this whole lazy, in his term, which, I mean, you could argue that or not. You can argue that if you want. Lazy creator type stuff. Even when I do the clips, that's not my true passion. Probably, and don't do it. I have to force myself, almost like a job, to do it. But the other part is I listen to a lot of podcasts, so why not clip the parts you hear and like? Because I'm listening to them anyway and share them with other people. There is a value to that. That's curating content. That's what it lives at TikTok do. So if Ethan wins this, then you shouldn't be able to retweet a video. Right? I mean, what's the difference? I don't understand what the difference is. I guess for Twitter, you could, when you retweet it, it links it back to the original. But a lot of people don't even do the kind of retweet like that. They just download it, upload it. You do see some copyright stuff on X, but to me, it would end everything, or should, if Ethan wins this new one. But back then, he was propped up as a free speech warrior. Believe it or not, his whole brand was built off of that. They made merch. They did podcast segments mocking the people who wanted to do copyright. He at the time framed himself as an anti-censorship dude who beat the system. But then years go on, the content gets soft, you get more money, your skin gets thinner, kind of like Hassan Piker a little bit, even though he's better, way better than Ethan Klein. So he's not edgy anymore at all. He's not funny at all. He's kind of like, I don't know if he has Tourette's or something. This nigga like, damn, nigga, calm down. This nigga just be like, damn, are you okay? I guess he has some type of condition, but it is what, I mean, condition or no condition, it's just like, I'm like, bruh, I can't even, I gotta listen to you on the podcast. I can't watch you just stroke out every second on the stream. You were better when you were fat. By 2023, he got into battles, and that's when he flipped, getting banned from YouTube streams. Remember, he did the Crowder thing where he faked like, "Oh, I'm going to debate Crowder." No, but he can't debate anybody. He doesn't know anything. That's why Hassan Piker literally, after the content nuke, Hassan Piker is like, what am I supposed to do with it? I'm just, maybe I'm wrong, but this is my understanding from watching this. I watched some of the stuff and followed it a little bit, not in a while, but my thought was that Hassan Piker was just kind of like, he was like, yeah, debate me, but he's like, this guy, you guys know, he doesn't know anything. What am I debating him on what? He doesn't even know enough to have a conversation on this stuff. So that's when the content nuke came, and now he's just this different dude now. So he can do whatever he wants, but the lawsuit is, I mean, it's pretty serious as far as a precedent. If he wins, fair use, damn near, at least in this space, is over. If he wins, that's how serious this could be. And who knows what's going to happen? I don't know where the case is. I didn't look that deep into it. Just want to tell like the story of it. If he wins, Rogan right now, you see, I don't use Rogan. I don't really want to clip anybody actually anymore. It's just annoying to me. I'm not using clips anymore. It's just annoying. But yeah, you can clip people like Rogan. You'd have to do 10-second clips. Now he'll copyright you in a heartbeat. That would be everybody. Well, some people don't care, but it would be a lot more prevalent. It'd be a lot more problematic. You would still see people doing reactions, but you would pause every 10 to 15 seconds just to avoid like issues. YouTube is problematic. We've talked about this before because fair use doesn't apply on YouTube. So YouTube is above the law because they have a monopoly as well. YouTube decides when to pull your video. They don't base it on what fair use is. If they base it on fair use, they would just let the video stay and say, you guys have to handle it in the court system. What YouTube is saying is somebody says they think it was a violation of fair use. That's why you can challenge it. Sometimes you win it, sometimes you don't. And if you challenge it and you don't win it, at some point they can nuke you, is what they say. So now copyright is, if Ethan wins, which I don't know, I haven't followed this. Anything's possible. He won the last one. He's got money. Copyright becomes a weaponization of who's the in crowd. So same thing with Daily Wire or anybody else. They can say, well, they can ignore if somebody else uses it that they like, and they can go after somebody who uses it that they don't like. So if this goes through, this is a very important case. Could change everything about what you see online. And for me, forget about the legality of it. We can end on that. For me, my point of playing clips has never been to have lazy content. Now, a lot of people who listen to the clip stuff, there's a lot of clippers out there. Shout out to the clippers. Nick Fuentes has gotten big because of clippers, and they matter. Curators. I used to like libs of TikTok, and they still they did good work. Everybody started copying them. But for me, what it's about is reframing. So you see what Ethan is targeting. He's not targeting the use of the clip. He's targeting people who use the clip and clowned him or have beef with him. For me, when I use a clip, 6-minute, 10-minute clip, usually it's no more than 10 minutes. The reason why I'm clipping it is to reframe it either as great or bad or funny or whatever lens I want to put the clip through. So, for example, if I did clip up the Tucker and Ted Cruz interview, I would be actually going at Tucker just because, and part of it is not just reframing it, is I really want to reframe it in a position that I honestly, authentically believe and can defend passionately with leaving room to be wrong, but that you might not have heard somewhere else. That always isn't the case, of course, but that's the goal. It's reframe it, not to be lazy. It's to reframe the clip. You can take a Donald Trump clip where maggots say he did such a great job. I take the clip and say, well, the Congolese that he's wants a Nobel Peace Prize for, those are your slaves. I've reframed it. That's the power behind the clipping to me. The clippers for Nick Fuentes frame it in kind of giving people like, here's where Nick's at. It's always really good stuff because they're drowning out the people who take the jokes. Every one of those bad Nick, well, not bad, but those they're actually his best moments. But you take it out of context, it's a joke and you don't understand. So I want to reframe. That's what I want to do. And that's what Ethan cares about. He wants to say, oh, if you are with me, yeah, I might let you use it. If you want to reframe it against me, no. As far as the law goes, I'm very liberal with that. I think you should be able to take this. It doesn't matter if it's a movie or anything else. If you take it and put it on your platform, I think you should be able to replay it in its entirety. And I understand that poses problems. It's easy for me to say. I don't have like a work I spent $1 billion on to make. But I just don't see how you spend $1 billion on the movie. Somebody goes in the movie theater and they record it from the movie theater and upload it to the internet. I don't understand what law is broken there. You can make a law to make it break, but I don't understand. I know it's not ideal. And if that happens, people wouldn't spend $1 billion on a movie. And my argument would be maybe you shouldn't spend $1 billion on a movie. The law shouldn't be there to protect the $1 billion you spent on the movie. The law should just make sense. What is if you're going to be biblical about it, what is the sin there? I don't see it. And I know but for me, it's not like saying I just took the whole movie and just put it on. Not really my thing. I've done a couple of that with like, I don't know, like when I was with MAGA, I forgot what's his name, John Voight. I think I just copied his and just put it on there just for, I don't know why, but it wasn't like he did that. It wasn't like I don't feel like it felt cheap. It was just spreading the message, and that's what he wanted to do. So I'm very liberal on the copyright stuff, but a lot of people aren't. No more middle MAGA. No, middle MAGA is rest in peace, middle MAGA. It's gone. I don't rep MAGA anymore, but thank you for stopping by. Yeah, in fact, I think Donald Trump his presidency is the worst of my lifetime. Never seen anything like this. Never. I mean, especially when you consider the betrayal. I think that's a big part of it. To see Donald Trump become Jeb Bush Donald Trump right now is everything they wish Jeb Bush would have been. John McCain, Meghan McCain was giving Trump props the other, on X. Believe it or not. Yeah, it's really sad what's happened to MAGA. So it's good people, but at some point I'm gonna have to stop calling you a good person if you're not authentic when people disagree, and just generally speaking. Yeah. Let me talk about JD Vance for a second. JD Vance, he is the definition of a political savant, I believe. I mean, he's the literal definition of a political savant, and I'll end on this take. This dude looks up like nobody's business on certain things. Today I saw, and I think this is from today. Today I saw that he, believe it or not, he was talking about the Alex Padilla thing. And he called Alex Padilla, the senator, he called him Jose. He said it casually, Jose Padilla, and just kept on talking. And my take on it was a mistake. He didn't do it on purpose. But the reason why I call him a savant is it's another it's another good moment, and he just kind of gets through the bad moments, like the bakery and the fat face memes, and he kind of gets through these moments, and he's overall very smart, but he's kind of like Pete Buttigieg, very similar in a way, from not necessarily style, but like what they do, the way they communicate, kind of what they try to do when they communicate is very similar. A debate between JD Vance and Pete Buttigieg would be like looking in the mirror. It'd be like two people looking in the mirror. So I looked at it and I said, "Damn, he got through another one." It was a banger. To call Alex Padilla just some random Mexican name, Jose, Joe, Jose. It would have been really funny if he had done it on purpose. And he always makes it through these moments. He's gonna keep making it through these moments. He just has that knack. I don't know. He's gonna be tough to take out. Let me first just talk about, since I'm talking about this is a family. Since I'm talking about JD Vance, let's just continue to talk about JD Vance. He I think he's going to be the toughest one to beat. I think he is going to be the presidential candidate for 2028, and I would guess that he's going to win. But I'm not going to make predictions at this point. But he's the one who's going to carry the MAGA mantle. There's no one else. It's not, obviously he's not MAGA. He's more of like a neo George Bush, but MAGA doesn't care at this point. So before I say who I want to run in 2028, who would run? I'm seeing Tucker, in my opinion, he's positioning himself to be able to make that decision. In my opinion, Candace Owens has been eyeing it. I think she's been trying to put herself in position to make that run. Of course, JD Vance, who believes he's going to be in the driver's seat, of course. Why wouldn't he believe he's in the driver's seat? He is the number one at this point. I know it's early, but I definitely think he still is the number one at this point. JD Vance. And he's going to have a lot of money behind him. You're going to see a vicious battle with Ron DeSantis again. Has Casey announced for governor of Florida? I honestly don't know. I haven't kept up with it. Because she was acting like she was going to run. I don't know if she ever made it official. My understanding is I don't think Nick Fuentes can run until 20. How old is he? He's young. I think he can't run until like 2044 or something like that. And he will mature. The movement's maturing. You see the movement blowing up. That's obviously who, if I could pick anybody, is who I would pick. As far as like a person, I don't really have anybody. I still like Dr. Shiva Ayodure. He was not born in the States. He's the best one. He has the energy and everything. Comic Dave Smith is who I have said before. I still like Comic Dave Smith, but I don't want I can't put someone who does not who tries to gatekeep. You don't have to agree with the question, the JQ, but you can't be gatekeeping against it for me to support you for president. So obviously they have no chance. Ye is just he's kind of just he's just a beautiful disaster, really. So I don't even know if I can support him if he can't get it together for more than like a couple weeks. But Ye's energy is definitely what you would want. So you can tell I'm out the political game. There's no one realistic that would win that makes any sense. We're locked into Zio left or Zio right. But you're looking at JD Vance as the favorite. The question there is going to be Donald Trump Jr. Does he have any interest? Would he be the VP, or could JD be VP again? I don't know. I think so, but I think it would make more sense for Donald Trump Jr. to be VP if he wanted to. But they just want to keep the Trump name going from Donald Jr. to Barron. If Barron wanted to. Millennials are now the largest voting bloc. How are millennials going? I don't know. I've been watching the Gen Z a lot. Am I a millennial? I don't even. What are the years for the millennial? No, I'm Gen X, right? Let me see. Yeah, I'm Gen X, I believe, right? I don't even remember the Gen stuff. Which there is. Robert Sanchez, what's up? Thank you. Said love the channel, brother. Keep it going. Appreciate it. Yeah, I haven't streamed a lot. Generation X. I'm Generation X, born 65 to 80. Y is 81 to 96. X and Y are very similar, I would say. In a way. I mean, they're not perfectly the same. Z is where you see the real drop off. Not drop off, not dis. I actually like Gen Z, not drop off, but difference is what I should say. I like a lot of Gen Zers. They just lived in a different world. So that's where some of the differences come from. But they're opening their eyes a little bit. Prior comment was deleted. I did not delete it. I didn't put any setting on, but I don't know if there's a setting. Sometimes people tell me that you have to turn a comment setting off every time. But I don't see a comment setting or anything to turn off here. Yeah, Fox is struggling. That's why you see Laura Loomer is really big on. Here's the importance of X. It just seems like X is where the momentum happens. Why does Nick Fuentes have a lot of energy? You have to give Elon Musk credit, even though he left his address up there. I think Elon Musk does not have good intentions. I think Elon Musk left Nick Fuentes' home address up on X against the platform rules, against what he is so concerned about with doxing, because he wanted Nick to be unlived. I literally believe that. But you see where the energy from X, if Nick wasn't let back on X, this is 2025, the year of the Groiper. I've been saying that since probably January, since Your Body, My Choice. I've been saying that, and it's been playing out. Dinesh D'Souza said he'll debate Nick. I don't think he's going to follow through, but everyone has to talk about it. The deaf and dumb data Republican. I don't mean dumb and stupid. It's literally dumb. Data Republican, this artificial astroturfed internet person tried to go at Nick because they got instructions probably because you can't ignore Nick. What option do you have? You can ignore Nick, but then you're not relevant. So now they try to go at him, discredit him, and they don't care how stupid they sound in the process, is what we're seeing with that. But Nick is taking a lot of power from Fox. Tucker's concerned about it too, because Nick to me seems like he has more influence than even Tucker does at this point. So that's why they're all going at. Now, there's many reasons, but that's part of the reason why they're going at him. For sure. Yeah, I'm gonna head out. The other topics I was looking at was Grok. Elon Musk he's trying to improve Grok to be like basically the known U.S. Fact checker. He didn't say that, but that's basically what it was. Ministry of Truth. He basically said he wants Grok to be the Ministry of Truth. See, that's the reframing that I like to do. He didn't say that, but that's what he meant, in my opinion. People don't like that, obviously. You take what I say and then you reframe it. Obviously, you might not like it. I think I'm pretty fair. If you reframe it and it's basically legit, I feel like I would tell you. But a lot going on within the MAGA circles. Steve Bannon spoke at a Christian Science Monitor breakfast on June 19th. And he got a question for the audience about how the deep state might be influencing Trump. And he just went off for like 11 minutes. He talked about Oliver Stone's Nixon, where the CIA was entrenched in the government as a beast, basically, and talked about Nixon's struggle with the intelligence apparatus. And he basically is applying that to Trump. He made it clear that the deep state is what's hurting Trump. So he's trying to kind of let Trump off the hook and not naming the J's at the same time. But it was a very kind of an unusual moment. Steve Bannon has criticized Trump. Remember, Trump fell out with him, but not in this way, I don't think. I don't think and this wasn't even a criticism of Trump. He was just saying Trump is being led astray, basically, from the deep state, using kind of coded language. So I thought that was interesting too. So there's a lot going on in that sphere also. But thanks a lot for checking it out. As you saw, the B-2 bombers are on their way, and I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't heard much since last night about what's going on over there. And some people think that it's going to be I think they said Friday or Saturday, just throwing that out there, because he wants the bombings to have started long before the opening of the stock market on a Monday. So you're not going to probably see it on a Sunday. If you see it, it's going to have to be a Friday or a Saturday. Those are the slowest, pretty much the slowest news days. But then all the Sunday shows come on, and then you got it there. But all right, thanks for checking out the channel. Appreciate y'all. It's now index red. I'm out. Peace.